To break this down, we're joined by CarExpert Founder Paul Maric. Great to catch up with you again, Paul. Have people given up on EVs, or is it too early to make that call?
Look, it is kind of looking that way. And EVs, you've got to remember, have some of the most generous incentives of any vehicle you can buy on the road. So, and they don't pay any fuel excise. I mean, you could virtually drive it for free and people still don't want them. So I think that is probably the most telling sign yet.
Can we put the Tesla sales collapse down to the fact that we're about to be flooded, or are already being flooded, by dozens of Chinese-made electric vehicles that A, are cheaper and B, look better than Teslas?
Yeah, look, Tesla really is struggling at the moment with pricing. There are so many Chinese vehicles here in Australia, so many coming. A lot of people are trying to nail it on Musk as well and his relationship with Trump. But given that he won the popular vote over there, I don't know that that has anything to do with it. I think people's confidence in electric cars just isn't strong enough yet here in Australia.
You and I have talked about infrastructure a lot. It seems that that's improved slightly. So now the federal government, the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, at a private meeting apparently has talked about using or putting on a road user charge for all electric vehicles because, of course, they don't pay fuel excise, which I think roughly works out to about $700 a year for a motorist driving a petrol-driven car. Labor's going to hopefully, I think, put this up as a second-term promise in government. Do you think that will have even more impact on your ambitions to buy an electric vehicle?
Look, it would absolutely have to. And I think it's a fair thing to ask because at the moment you have enormous tax incentives. You've got no requirement to pay any fuel excise to contribute to roads, government, health, all this sort of stuff. I think every road user needs to pay their fair share, including electric vehicle drivers. And it's about time that everyone was using the roads in the same way.
So the Chinese vehicles that are starting to come in with weird names like Build Your Own Dream or whatever it's called, what's the quality of those like compared to the big manufacturers, the Mercedes, the BMWs, the Volvos?
Look, these days you pay a lot of money for European cars, and unfortunately, they don't really deliver that much of a quality advantage over the Chinese. That brand BYD, they actually released a dual cab ute called the Shark here recently. This has a commodity and a giant
The
battery.
Shark?
The Shark,
What?
and they release it here. To build this thing alone would cost you well over 60 grand. It's selling for under $60,000, and I think they are taking a massive haircut on a lot of these cars.
Have you driven the Shark?
I have. Look, it's not really all that good off-road or at towing, but for the type of person who's going to drive it around the city like most dual cab utes seem to do, it actually delivers great value for money. And if you look at a Ford Ranger, for example, it can be almost double the price in some instances. It just feels like incredible value for money. And that is the case with a lot of Chinese cars. You're getting a lot of value for money there. If people are willing to hope that the manufacturer stays around for a while, then they're a decent purchase.
I mean, the point that you make about towing, I mean, when you tow with these things, I presume that empties your battery more quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, we actually did a test a little while back. We hooked up a trailer dyne, which is basically a load simulator to the Shark. And when the battery ran out, the maximum it could do, even with full throttle, was 70 kilometres an hour. And I think that is one of the biggest inherent risks with these vehicles, that regardless of how much sort of tech and stuff you put into them, there is no substitute for a big engine. And if you do want to be towing, you need to stick with traditional means, which is either a diesel or a big old V8.
Yeah, go and buy a Ram. Paul Maric, thank you very much. Great to catch up with you again, Paul Maric from CarExpert.